Hey there, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Pocketshooters, Mastering Mobile Photography. I'm sitting here with my good friend, Mr. Julio Shorio. What's up, G?
What up?
All right, this is going to be an interesting episode that we have for you guys, and I think we should have done this episode earlier because what we're going to talk about is fundamental to a lot of forms of photography, and a lot of people take it for granted that it's an accessory, where I position this as more of a necessity, right? And that is tripods and stabilizing your camera, in this case your mobile phone. You agree, G, that this is necessary stuff?
It is. I carry a tripod with me everywhere I go. I used to not, but I do, and I carry a traditional tripod, but I also carry smaller ones too. But the more stable your image, like genuinely stable, not optical, but genuinely stable, the sharper the image is going to be.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it also, let's just dive right into it. Before we dive in, I want to remind the Pocketshooters audience, we say this in every episode, but we really do want to keep the show going. So help us keep the show going by supporting us over at patreon.com/Pocketshooters. That's patreon.com/Pocketshooters. That that will allow us to keep making these shows and keep this momentum going. We want to keep going as long as we possibly can, because these phones and the software and the hardware is not really showing any signs of going away. You can also support the show by heading over to school.thisweekinphoto.com. That's school.thisweekinphoto.com. And over there, we've got a number of courses, but there's also a Pocketshooters course there that's available. So go ahead and pick that up. That'll also help us keep the show going. One of the benefits of both of those contributions, either through Patreon or through Pocketshooters, is that you will get access to our exclusive and private Pocketshooters Facebook group. So within there, you'll have a direct line to Julio Shorio to ask him questions any time of the day or night, and he will no. But yeah, you will have access to both G and I. We'll be in there from time to time, answering questions, posting work, and putting exclusive things only for the Pocketshooter community inside the Pocketshooters Facebook group. So support the show. All right. With that, speaking of supporting the show, supporting your phone. So you need to put a support on your phone. People may be saying, hey, why would I need to stabilize this thing? Some of these phones have optical image stabilization, which lets me, remove shake, or, I'm not a portrait studio. Why do I need to put this thing on a support, G? What do you think?
Well, again, like I mentioned, the sharper the more stable your image is, the sharper it's going to be. Sometimes you may want to do a long exposure, a time lapse, and the phone's got to be steady. Sometimes you just have to have it, man. There's just no way around it. And quite frankly, they don't really stand up by themselves.
No, they don't. They don't. And having some sort of support available to you. I mean, these things, we're going to show a couple of them, but these things are tiny, and they take very little space in your camera bag or even your back pocket if you're going bag free. But what they give you is well beyond the few ounces that it takes to carry them around. For example, in a previous episode, Julio mentioned doing time-lapse photography. Sure, you can do handheld time-lapse photography. You can walk around, and you can get some awesome results. But if you want to do something like showing the sun setting, or the passage of time, or someone, you want to do a time-lapse showing people building up a set, or your spouse cooking dinner over time, and you want to show them her cooking, then cleaning up, and compress that down into 30 seconds or so. You don't want to be holding the phone for 3 hours while all this stuff goes down. That's where the support comes in, G. So time lapse is one example. What's another example where you want to use a tripod, G?
Sometimes you just don't want to hold the camera. They can get a little slippery. I mean, this can get slippery. So a tripod, or like a grip that you would need to attach to a tripod. You want to show the passage of time, that maybe it's not even a time lapse. It could just be like a long exposure. mean, there's a variety of areas. I mean, if you're gonna do a vlog, if you like to vlog with your phone,
Yeah.
you can just hold it out in front of you. You can, but if you want to get a wider shot, unless you can make the phone hover, it's gotta attach to something. You can also use tripods, not just to stabilize, but if you want to get a lower angle instead of kind of bending down, you just kind of take the tripod, turn it upside down, camera goes lower, and then you can kind of operate a little easier as well.
Totally, totally. And there's, like we said in the beginning, there's lots of different options. I'm going to show a couple. This one you introduced me to, Julio, and this is the shoulder pod, which on the bottom there's a traditional tripod screw hole here, so I can put it on anything that will screw into any other camera. Yep, just like that one. And so this works. You can carry that around. It'll fit any size phone you have for the most part, and you just cinch it down, and it clamps on your phone, and now you can put it on, anything. Yep. There, let me
And it's a nice grip
again.
too. I mean, it just because the phones are slippery, it's a nice grip.
Yep.
What I did, and you can find a video on my YouTube channel if you can. So I added a cold shoe to the top of the shoulder pod. It's a real easy mod. Kind of wish they included it with the shoulder pod.
How'd you do that? Do you have any instructions on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, full instructions, the parts you're going to need to buy, where to get them. It's like a $10 mod, and if you include the drill bit, it'll take you about 30 minutes to do. But it's a super handy feature because then you can add your accessories on top, like my Rode Video Micro, and I can attach that on top of here. And then I put the right into the headphone port of my iPhone 6.
I was going to say on phones that have a headphone port.
It's quite possible this is going to work with the 7s. It's quite possible, but it's just because the 7s are so new at the time of the recording. We don't know. But now you've got yourself it's a really good mic, Frederick. This is, $50. You know what? As soon as the show's over, go buy the mic. Everybody go buy the mic. It's just that good. It's phenomenal. Plus you can use it with your DSLRs and stuff. So anyways.
Now, do you flip that mic around and point it at yourself when you're doing like narration?
Yep. You can just turn it around. There you go. And because it works with your smartphone and Android as well, and it'll work with your DSLR, but on your smartphone, you can use it for stuff like Periscope, YouTube Live. This is the mic I'll be using it when we start doing live events in our Facebook group that you get access to when you support the Patreon account or get the Pocketshooters course. Phenomenal for $50. And it comes out of this housing. This is a stabilization system, so that if you shake, it doesn't affect the audio. But man, what a good mic, and it's all metal.
That's cool. And with that, with that setup that you have right there, you can put it on a tripod too, right?
Yeah. So I use I've been really loving this 3-legged thing, Leo. And look, it's small. I may look big because I'm kind of pushing it in front of the screen, but it's a very small tripod. I carry this with me everywhere. Now I know this is not what most people are going to use for your smartphone. You can use much smaller tripods, but because I often carry a dedicated camera with me too, this comes with me. Becomes kind of part of a conversation piece. It's beautiful. It turns into a monopod. Mm-hmm. You can attach spikes to the feet. When I reviewed it, kind of being a wise guy, I put the spikes on, turned it into a monopod, and I threw it like a javelin in honor of the Olympics.
Of course you did. Of course.
Yeah, right. So, but yeah, you can just attach, you just attach it to the top.
Yep. A little Arca Swiss plate there. Yep.
Yeah, it's a neat system.
Yeah, my solution because I like to carry tripods with me everywhere I go as well. In California here, we tend to drive everywhere, right? So because everything's so far apart, and but I have on a couple of occasions I just forgot my tripod. I was like So what I ended up doing is at one trade show, I used the Mi Photo, which is similar to the one you have there. But probably about the same size, but I have a red and black one, and then at a trade show I went ahead and bought a black one. The exact same tripod that lives in the car. So this one lives in the trunk at all times, so no matter what I'm doing, what gear I have with me, I always have a tripod available to me. So all right, so then other pieces, so we talked about the shoulder pod. Here's another little doohickey I wanted to show you guys. So look at this thing. This looks kind of like a medieval torture device, doesn't it? But what it is, so it's actually three pieces here. So on the bottom, this is a Platypod Pro plate. Say that three times fast. From the company called Platypod, and it essentially lets you mount anything to the top of it. You could even put a camera on there. But you put, what I did was I had an old Joby head that I screwed to the Platypod. Now on this thing, I can put whatever I want. So on the top, I put a little A-grip iPhone thing. So I could have put the shoulder pod on there if I wanted as well, but I just put this guy on there and he lives on there all the time. So now I can put this Platypod on any surface and angle my phone in whatever direction I want and take photos just like that.
Nice.
So yeah, it's really cool. And the cool thing about it is it's tiny. You know, it's relatively tiny. If you take it apart, you can stick it in the side of your camera bag, you know, if you're going that route. Or just throw it in the car and you're good to go. I've used it around the house many times. Like if I just want to do a quick video of myself, I can just put my camera on that and set it on the counter, you know, in the kitchen and hit record, and I don't have to worry about setting up the, you know, with the Me Photo and with your tripod, you got to extend all the legs and you know, it's a little bit of a time commitment to get ready to shoot. With this thing, you cinch it down, put your camera in there, hit record and go. You're done. So on the fly. And here's the other thing I wanted to show. This is a little Gorilla Pod guy here, and on the top of it is a little accessory that I got off of Amazon called time-lapse. And what it does, it's kind of like an egg timer, but it's a time-lapse thing. So on the top here, you attach your phone to the top, and then you just rotate this thing. That's it. You rotate it, and then it slowly pans through over time. So if you put your camera in time-lapse mode, what you end up with in the end is a time-lapse that happens that's panning over time. So basically like a professional-looking time-lapse shot with a little piece of like $15 plastic and your awesome phone. Stick it on there, and you're good to go. I did one using this exact device in Times Square in New York City, and it came out really cool. And what we did was, I was there with a friend helping out, because I wouldn't suggest doing shots like this in Times Square alone. But we had my Me Photo tripod, put this little time-lapse head on top of it, the timer, and I stood in the middle of the crowd while people are kind of fishing around me, you know, and I tried to stay as perfectly still for about 5 to 10 minutes as I could. So you're getting a pan through the scene with me standing there and the blur of people moving around me over time. And the only gear that we used to do that was an iPhone, a little tripod, and this thing, and it came out looking fantastic. So it goes to experimentation with these devices and things that would not have been possible without some sort of support, right? So you need support in your life, right, Gene?
You do, and then that is a very cost-effective way to do it. You're gonna, when you get the camera lapse, it's gonna, you may think it feels cheap. I mean, it's $39 or whatever. It's not, but it works.
Yeah. Oh, you have one of these too?
I was the person doing a time lapse of you in Times Square.
Oh wait, that was you. Oh, sorry about that. I forgot.
It's okay. I was more sober than you were.
Sorry. Man, I've known you a long time, man. Jeez.
Yes. It was a very good night. But if you want like a really high-tech version of the camera lapse, plus, should we talk about gimbals?
Yeah, go for it. Definitely.
So gimbals are basically, if you ever seen how a drone works when you got the camera on there, it's like this little robotic arm looking thing, and basically it keeps your camera stable. Well, you can get them for iPhones, and there's so many different versions of them. Some are really inexpensive, some are a little more expensive. You know, the thing is, like, the Apple Store carries the Fiotech one. But a friend of mine got the Fiotech one and it broke. Be careful when you buy these, because some of them come from companies that they have no support. So it's like a one-way street. But one of the more reputable companies is DJI, and they have one called the Osmo Mobile. I'm pulling it up on the screen right there.
Yeah, there it is.
And essentially, you put your phone on there. It comes with a very powerful app, so you can do motion time lapses built in. You hit point A, point B, and then you can hook it up to a tripod, and then boom, it starts to move. You can do vertical images. You can like double click the button for it to turn around and do selfies, and it's I'm excited to get this. It's going to retail for $299. So I am pretty excited. It works with Android and iOS device. It's really device independent.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing about it that it doesn't have, and I understand that it would be difficult to do, but I wish it had, was a microphone port that connected to your phone. So that's the only downer. But you know, the image quality you'll be able to get, the types of images will be, in theory, it hasn't come out yet, will be pretty cool.
But you can plug you can plug a microphone into your phone, right? Why wouldn't you be able to do that?
You can't because of the arm there on the right side, the little joint access on the right is blocking your mic port.
Why not just flip the phone around and plug it in the other direction?
I think that's going to throw off the gimbal.
Oh,
potentially. So let me. Oops. So what you could do, what potentially you could do is, let me take my phone off my shoulder pod. So if you did flip the phone around, and I don't know because I haven't used one yet, the mic would be on the other side. There is the Rode video mic Me, I think it's called. It's the same type of mic as this, but it attaches directly to the phone. The motors may or may not be strong enough to work with that. We don't know yet.
Yeah. I've seen some reports on that the Osmo Mobile. That's what that's called, right? The Osmo Mobile. I've seen a couple of reports that it will only work with the smaller phones, not the bigger phones. So that's unconfirmed. So you're looking on the page now? Can you see if it supports the larger one?
I believe it'll work up to like the 7 Plus or Note 5.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, minus obviously accessories and stuff. But I mean, it'll do also, you can like click on people's faces, and then as you move around, it tracks them. It's neat. Like it's a pretty, I think it could be a pretty cool device. I did play with a demo unit briefly, but not enough where I could actually shoot with it and say, hey, it's a must have. It's a must look at.
Yeah.
It's a must look at. So
yeah, but lots of accessories. You could see the progression in the show, right? We started with just sort of basics, and and now we're into supports and gimbals and all that, and you could keep going. you could keep going if you want to, but at a certain point you're going to want to, what I want to caution people against is like when we get into this iPhone photography in the pocket shooter universe, it's a wonderful universe, but don't go through life as a hammer seeing everything as a nail. Right? Because there are certain situations that you want to use other gear for. The phone can capture tons of situations and things that you never would have captured before because you didn't bring your camera with you. And with pocket shooters, either the course or the show, we've shown you lots of different ways to do cool things, but there are limitations to these devices. So don't get caught up in there, I have to make this work with this device, or, I can't get the shot. At a certain point, you're going to want to expand your repertoire into something larger with a bigger sensor. And that's not to say that you're evolving away from iPhone pocket shooter photography. You're just augmenting and adding different capabilities to your skill set and to the type of imagery and the type of stories that you can tell. So just keep that in mind as you move forward, right, G? Because you're a pocket shooter, but you shoot with other things as well, right?
Yeah, I'm a Lumix luminary, so I'm sponsored by Panasonic. I'm a proud member of the team, and I absolutely love Lumix cameras. And the thing is, like, a Lumix camera is not going to do what an iPhone does. It will not get that small where they can really kind of fit in my, like, that's a small camera and it's super powerful, but it won't fit in my pocket. I don't have Facebook on it. I can't make a call with it. I wouldn't want to. But it's going to do the thing. It's a dedicated camera. I turn it on, and within a split second, I'm shooting photos. I don't have to worry about getting a call on the device, in low light. And so there's a time and place for everything. And I will also caution you to not overthink things. So photographers have a bad habit of overthinking things. I'm guilty. I am guilty as anyone else, because we have the art and we got the technology, right? So we got and then somewhere, I don't know what is the center of the brain, the medulla oblongata or whatever it is, it glues like the right and left parts together, right? So that's like, you don't want to you don't want to get too much, being like trying to be like, well, here's the technical stuff and what can I do with the technical stuff. Think more of what stuff do I want to do, and then what tools will help me do that.
Yeah, that's well said. What I try to teach is to begin with the end in mind with your photography, or pretty much everything, right?
Right.
So, you kind of pre-visualize what success looks like, whether it's financially or in your love life or child rearing or photography. And you say, okay, this is the shot that I want to get. You might even go so far as to sketch it out. I want to, doesn't have to be a perfect sketch, but it kind of gives you an idea of where things are going to go in that scene. And then you execute on it. And you say, okay, to get this particular shot, what do I need to do? Oh, I could do that with my phone, and I'm going to be in time lapse. Oh, because I want to do this. I want to blur. I want this to be moving. I should probably bring my little tripod with me, and boom, 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 boom. Right. So you begin with the end in mind, then assemble. You do your little A-team dance and assemble all the characters that you need to create a successful mission. Then you execute against that plan, versus the opposite, which is, you try to be Batman and show up to be ready for any situation because you have all the gear available to you. And then you get to a location, like you go on vacation, you're like, hey, I'm in South America. And instead of doing your homework before you got to South America and figuring out the kind of shots that you want to get, you just throw yourself into South America with a bunch of various gear and try to figure it out on the fly. Like, okay, there's a shot. What do I have in my bag to get that shot? And then you have to figure it out, and you invariably end up with something substandard. So begin with the end in mind, right, G?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I want an Osmo. I don't know why though. Like I'm trying, like I want it, and I think it's super rad. Because I was playing with the demo, right? I'm like,
that's so
now
cool.
it's in my hand. I'm like, put me on the list, and she's like, okay, great, they'll be in soon. Then I'm like, well, what do I need it for exactly? What kind of what photography, what video am I gonna? I mean, it's like, what kind of shooting am I gonna do where this would help me? And I couldn't think of anything. So, I may not have an Osmo. I don't know. Like, I just don't know. I haven't used one before. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, that's not to say that everything needs to be planned. There's serendipity is awesome, but to ensure to increase your chances of success, I'm saying it makes sense to, have a plan. When I was doing printing or print-based photography, we called it the ring around. And that's not the bathtub, G, but the ring around is when you have a, you're creating prints. In the case of, ring arounds were typically used with color printing. So you would you create a print, and that was kind of your, okay, we'll call this print good. And then around that print, you would print various different prints that had different filters, or different color balance combinations around that one. And then you'd look around the ring around and say, oh, that one's better than the original. So now that one becomes the middle picture, and you do another ring around until you feel like you have it nailed, right? So you're essentially printing a bunch of photos, and then one becomes the hero, then you go around the edge. How that applies to what we're talking about here is, if you go out and you have a main target in mind, that's your main image, and then you shoot around that. That's the serendipity. So have an idea of what you want to shoot, a plan, even if it's a photo walk, like we talked about before. I'm going out, I'm going to shoot pictures of red things. You could shoot pictures of red things all day, but if you see, a rocket ship landing across the street that doesn't have red in it, that doesn't mean that you can't shoot. You can't shoot it. You can shoot that too. You can just, expand your horizons, but focus while expanding.
100%. I mean, think of it this way. So you already have your smartphone, and maybe it's not the latest and greatest, but it works.
Yeah, like this one.
And yeah, like great. Yeah, there you go. Like the original iPhone there. You didn't realize Frederick really waits to upgrade his iPhones. He's waiting for the iPhone 8 plus plus plus.
I'm waiting for iPhone 20, man. Come on.
So you maybe you have money saved up to buy a new phone and accessories, say $2,000 you've been saving. So getting the new phone and the accessories with that budget, will that get you better images than taking that same amount of money and say going on a photo workshop overseas somewhere and getting a photo experience, or just taking a vacation and putting yourself into that situation where you're going to have the experience and get more images? So, think about, I mean, it's maybe it's a deeper question than we should be getting into this show, but I mean, think about it like that. Think about it like that.
Yeah, no, very, very well said. Cool, man. All right, well, let's end this episode. This one's on tripods and mounting accessories, but this is kind of a sad episode, G. You know why?
Why?
We got one more episode after this one. In this, we have our season finale, and then the show goes dark for a minute. I'm sad.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, there might be some little ones in between there, but for the most part, the show's going dark, but then it comes back again with a new season. So
yes, and we will be also pretty active still on the Facebook group.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So we're not leaving you guys behind. We're just leaving the other. We're not actually leaving anybody behind.
We're leaving the season behind, and then the show goes dark for a minute, then it comes back with even more. Season 2 will be even more exciting of Pocket Shooters. All right, dude. Well, let's end this one off. I want to remind folks, if you want to, support us and help bring the show back for a season 2, head over to Pocketshooters.com and grab the Pocket Shooters course, which is sitting there waiting for you. Also, if you want to support us through Patreon, we love Patreon donations. We would love it for you to help us keep the lights on here at our virtual headquarters. Just head over to patreon.com/pocketshooters. That's patreon.com/pocketshooters. And we appreciate all of the people that have been supporting us through Patreon so far and that have purchased the Pocket Shooters course. All right, G, that's it for this episode. We'll see you in the next one.